Believe we're live. What's up, everybody? This is the House of Chayton here with a very early, very late, and very random stream. It is, I believe, 4:23 in the morning on Wednesday, May 31st. Been up for a little bit. Took a little nap after I got home. I was gonna actually do a live stream earlier, but just wasn't feeling up for it. Which is why, if anybody noticed, it was up and it was gone. But I've been honestly thinking for the last couple of weeks, to be honest. Yeah, to be how you doing? I've been thinking for the last couple of weeks, like a direction on here and even on my social medias as a whole regarding direction. I had different ideas. I'm a man with a million ideas all at once. And there's the stuff I wanted to do and all this other stuff, but a lot of late birds out there, I see. But I was last week, which was the last time I was live on here, and I was rewatching, I'll say it, the episode 50 of the Hangman Outcast. And, it was a great show. It was a great episode. I'm not going to deny that and to credit to everybody who partook in it. But I was looking, like I watched it a few more times, basically off air, paid more attention to myself regarding just like mannerisms and all that other stuff. Because for those of you who do not know, some of you may, during that period, I was going through a very I was very depressed at that time. Going through, I know YouTube doesn't like the word, but suicidal thoughts and all that other stuff back then. Trying to find a way out of the depression. And so, and a lot of people have told me, oh, that was your best work. Like the last 10 or so episodes was like the best work. But basically that was me feeling a void and trying to fake it basically until I made it, which is basically what happened. But rewatching episode 50, it was very eye-opening. It was very, and hello Anthony and hello Nick. It was very eye-opening. It was very telling, looking at myself. And it was something that, was interesting to me. Because I'm usually not someone who watches my content. Like I don't watch myself. I, believe it or not, I do get annoyed by hearing my own voice. But without watching it, I was kind of looking at it from a critical perspective. And I was planning on doing some stuff. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I realized that there was a few things, but it was primarily mental and psychological that I wasn't really ready or good to do that type of stuff anymore. Because even though I have improved over the last couple of years. I've really improved upon myself, and even recently, I feel like I've done a good job at maintaining some sort of integrity and trying to be a beacon of laughter, hope, and entertainment to everybody on here and in life. Because I do this at work, I do this with my friends. I got a bachelor party I'm going to later on today. So I'm looking forward to that. And so the last couple of weeks, I've just been pondering, and I'll be honest, I've been going through depression. I've been going through anxiety, and it's one of the reasons why I've been taking myself out of certain channels, streams, what have you, because the negativity has been at all-time high. And if you want to improve on yourself, you have to take yourself out, and you also got to evaluate the people around you. You got to evaluate the people that are actually there for you. They're not just there for whatever reason. It could be for money. It could be for clout. It could be for anything. It doesn't just have to be on here. It's in general. It's life. And came to a realization when going back to the direction of this channel, besides, of course, because the one thing I enjoy doing on here every week is the Exiled Outcasts. And it's something that I have thoroughly enjoyed doing. It's something I look forward to every week in terms of recording. And I look forward to that, and something Jester pointed out, it's actually a very good point. For years, going back to the Hangman Charlie days, I was portraying myself as a man of the people. I appreciate that, Anthony. I portrayed myself as a man of the people. I wanted to basically put others' intentions and others' joy in front of my own. Reason why sometimes I recorded every day, sometimes 4 or 5 videos in early or late at night, to make sure that I had deadlines. And it wasn't deadlines that I just set for myself. I'm a perfectionist at that point, where I try to make everything great. And that's just in general. That's at work. It's in life. But it got to the point where I was getting burnt out. And if any of the stuff didn't happen in 2021, I do believe that I would have went into a downward spiral anyways, due to the fact that I was burning myself out, and it was no one's fault but my own. Because nobody asked for everyday videos. I put that for myself to entertain people. And I was somebody who wanted to be that. And these last few years have taught me that, a few things. As the title of this video goes, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have depression, anxiety, PTSD, whatever you want to portray it as. I've been very vocal about using it as a crux, and also someone who has been vocal about not being vocal. And man enough to say I was wrong about that. Where people, where you think about not talking about your problems, talking about everything, and you're going to get those people who are going to attack or make fun. And believe me, I've been that way before. I'm not going to say that I've not been that way. But life is too short, and life is sometimes it's too short sometimes to realize that you have to live, live for the moment, live for the now. Because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You never know what's going to happen in 2 days from now. And something that I am planning on doing with the channel and my social medias is to basically turn this channel. If you've noticed, I've made a lot of videos private. Not because of any fear or anything like that, just because it's something that I really don't want to look at anymore. I kind of want, my goal is to not only to focus primarily on the Exiled Outcast and the other side project that is, believe, going to be announced this Friday on the show, but as well as that is to talk about like mental health, talk about stuff going on in my life, stuff going on, and there'll be certain things, because you don't want to be too open on here, unless you can handle it. And I believe I'm at a better state where I can handle it. Because you're always going to have that. It could be anywhere. Hell, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. You can have those people on there. They're going to do that. Yeah, and the thing is, Nick, is that like, at that time, again, rewatching the episode from with basically hindsight, looking at like, again, I focus primarily on watching myself, and I realized that I cannot, like, I never want to be in that position again, because I was wearing a mask to hide what I was really going through, and nobody else really knew about it. Some people had ideas, but no one really knew what was really going on. And my biggest regret of everything is I wish I talked to people. I wish I talked to people about my problems, and instead of shredding it behind a mask, a lie, what have you. Because all I was doing was hurting myself and hurting others that I actually cared about. And we're not here to talk about like 2021 in general. I'm just using that as an example, as someone who has not watched those episodes in a very long time. To where, I could see it. Like I was basically one foot away from basically falling into the forever nothing, if you will. Yeah, I did see the Dark Side of the Ring episode. It was actually really good. I was actually looking forward to this more so for Chris Candido. Rest in peace as well. Way too young. But, and also, like, I'm looked at as someone who is very impenetrable, very, and I really don't let what others say get to me to the point where, it bothers me. To be perfectly honest, my biggest critic is myself, and I listen to that more than anything else. And, I've had bouts with depression, I've had bouts with this, that, and the third. And usually I've handled those things in an unhealthy way, whether it was alcohol, whether it was, I'm trying to think, lashing out. I was trying to think of the right word. Saying the most hurtful, heinous things in the world that I can never take back to some things, whether people believe they deserved it or not, it's up for debate with them. Do I think they didn't know? No. Whether they said equal things or not, it's. I used to go by the mentality that if people go in person with me, go for a jugular, and I realized that was a wrong way of thinking. And like I said, even now in 2023, like I'm still improving, still learning, I'm still adapting to mistakes I've made from the day previous. And this is just in life, work, like work, life, friends, relationships. Like I would use alcohol, sex, whatever, as a way to kind of fill the void and all that. If it wasn't alcohol, it was sex. If it wasn't sex, it was alcohol. I'll tell you a story. I think it was actually in 2021. It's in the summertime, like near the fall. I was going through a very rough time personally. And I've told the story about how Resident Evil Village basically kind of got me out of the rut. But something else that I was going through at the time was I was having a very bad, I wouldn't say addiction to alcohol, but I was close to that. I was close to becoming an alcoholic. And when I was going to a CD exchange near like North Star Mall, a friend of mine was telling me that they were having a Alcoholics Anonymous class, and they thought I would like to go just to see everything. So I said, why not? I'll go check it out, just because it was something that, at the time I didn't want to hear anybody else's problems, but I was going in there and sitting in there and listening, because I really didn't have much to say at that time, because I didn't have the stories that anybody else had, where they lost their kids from alcohol, or they got divorced because of alcohol, they lost their job because of alcohol, what have you. Because I never had those issues where I had alcohol to blame or anything for that. And so I'm sitting there listening and also thinking of my father, who was an alcoholic and a drug addict. That's one of the reasons why I rarely ever touch drugs. Weed every so often. I know people don't consider that a drug, so. But one of the things I remember when I was a kid, I vowed to myself that I was never going to be a smoker, drug addict, or an alcoholic. Luckily, I got two of those things. I've stayed by two of those things. Never touched any hard drugs. Weed, I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually smoked the devil's grass, if you will. But never anything else hard. And never had the temptation to do so. Alcohol, however, it was a point in time where I was at that point, and so no, I have not, Anthony. No, I have not. I'm not planning on. I'm going to go see the Machine later on today, actually, before I go to a bachelor party. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I am focusing on that and listening and thinking about my father. And while I still drink, I have been doing very good of controlling it and not letting it control me. I think the last time I went out, I drank really like a lot was back in my last relationship. And that was actually one of the things that led me not to be seeing that individual anymore was the fact that that individual was drinking very heavily or very heavy. So I didn't want to be around that. And I didn't want, there was other reasons too, but that was one of the main reasons regarding that. And so nothing against her and all that, but just, again, it was hopefully one day she overcomes that problem. But it is something to, I know, when you have those issues and you listen. As someone who doesn't like, it seems like he talks a lot, which I do. I always make sure to listen and listen to what people have to say regarding things, because someday I could learn from it and learn from some, like, whatever, like even on here, I've said this, like, I have a good amount of supporters on here, a good amount of people like their friends, and all that. And some in here are watching right now. Others will probably watch later. I guess the moral of the story is, as the title is regarding everything, is the title is it's okay to not be okay. And I go through those depression states. This past week has been kind of rough for me. And, I've been trying to, still outside of me that wants to just put on a smile and make sure everything, like, let people know that, I'm all right, all that good stuff. But, I think something that I've been hesitant to do is talk, because one thing I did get from my father, which is something I do not like having, is pride, and a great amount of it, to where you don't want to admit you're going through stuff because it shows weakness. And my depression states don't come as often as they used to, which is good. I know, I appreciate that. Like, I'm like, who knows? Tomorrow I'll be happy as Daisy. After I get some sleep and all that, I could be happy as Daisy. So it's not saying that that is permanent, but and to come on here and to be vulnerable at almost 5 a.m, is something that it's kind of refreshing, if you will. We have so many people that are wearing masks, hiding from their true selves, or taking their issues and reciprocating that into hatred and anger towards others. And I've been watching that, and I've been very disgusted by it as someone who once did that himself. It's kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror and looking at the things you've said, the things you've done, and come to a realization that you kind of go from not being disgusted by the individuals, but being disgusted by yourself because you were once them. And I'm not like that anymore. Whether people want to believe that or not, I am not. And one second. And there's something that, if you're not going through something right now, a lot of you watching, a lot of you going to be watching, if you're not going through something watching, you're lying to yourself. We all are going through something, whether it's financial issue. Like right now, like I should be the happiest motherfucker in the world, making good money. I'm at my dream job. I'm doing good. Hey, Bio, how you doing, man? All the money in the world, all the possessions you have, everything like that, is nothing compared to your mental health and well-being. Like I had to talk with a friend of mine. I won't say who and won't say exactly what we're working on, but some people may know. And due to not being in the same place I was years ago, I told them I didn't want to do the thing. And luckily, he was very understanding of the situation regarding all that. Because I came to a realization, especially after watching episode 50, where I'm not like the entertainer in me is not there anymore. So that's also something that the Exile Outcast has kind of helped. Is that I can be myself. I could be Chayton Long and not be some facade. Granted, my name is House Chain on here, yes, but be some facade of something. I feel like even the House of Chain is an evolution of and maturity, and that's where I want this channel to go. Don't want it to be some like sex dungeons, sex stories, what have you, because and I'll be open and honest about this, like the set, like I've openly been honest. I'm a very sexually active individual, but it's to fill a void. It's to fill the void of something, whether it's belonging, whether it's meaning, whether it's a place in this world. Is basically something to fill a void. And with that, you have to understand that once you understand that, then it's not, and once you come to realization that it is something basically to fill something, then there's no enjoyment out of it because it feels like a necessity. It goes from being enjoyment, pleasure, fun, what have you, to a necessity. And once things are not fun anymore, then you have to find what makes you happy, what makes you want to live life, what makes you want to what drives you. Right now, my work is what drives me. On here, what drives me is the Exiled Outcast, and to be more of a quote unquote, not really a spokesperson, but like someone to talk about mental health and talk about everything, be more open, and knowing that people will take your weakness and try to abuse it, but know that they do the same thing that you once did. And hopefully one day they come to the realization that they have a problem too. And it's okay to not be okay. One of, I guess you would call my inspirations and my influences in life, literature, what have you, is a musician by the name of Jesse Leach. For those of you who do not know, he is the singer of Killswitch Engage and Times of Grace, among other projects. And I became more of a fan of his during the Times of Grace period. Like I was always a Howard Jones fan of Killswitch Engage for a long time until I listened to more of Jesse Leach's stuff before and after Howard Jones. And I started following him like on Instagram and all that stuff. And a lot of stuff that he says, and he talks about mental health a lot, really inspires me. Someone who has all the fame, the fans, and all that in the world, but is still goes through all that and is very open about that. And I respect him for that, and it inspires me to, because some people will say that, and I don't know why you would, that I am a role model to a lot of people. Some people even watching, I am a voice. And there are times where, I used to take that as a badge of honor, but now I kind of look at it as an idea of I don't want to be a role model. I am not a role model. I am not like, I would still say I'm a voice, but I am someone who, I'm a dick. I could be the nicest person in the world. Yes, I am a very caring and sometimes over-caring individual, but I am a dick. I am someone who can be selfish at times. I can be narcissistic sometimes regarding everything. And I am a very flawed character, if you will. And I will say that one individual that has very much, at least on here, has helped me through my, what would you call it? Self-reflection, my journey into who I am now is Dan. Dan, Phenomenal One, are some that have been very instrumental into who I am today and where I am now, where I'm like, I'm kind of going from being a flashy individual to being just someone who, is real. Not saying that, everything you saw was fake. I've always said that my persona originally was myself dialed up to 100 or to 1,000 even. And as someone that I don't like, to be perfectly honest with you, I do not recognize that person from 3 years ago. I do not recognize that person maybe even from 3 months ago. I see who I am now. I see where I'm going, and I feel that I'm on a good track. Now, as far as anything goes with this channel, something I wanted to add. Earlier, I was going to make a stream called The Final Open House. Well, I decided to delete it. I am not going to be doing any more open houses. I'm not going to be doing really any more panel discussions besides the Exiled Outcast, which is pre-recorded. I may do some projects with some friends and all that stuff when I have the time and stuff that makes me happy, and I'm not having to worry too much about anything. I have also unsubscribed to a good amount of people because I've looked at it from the perspective if their content or their messages are not good for my mental health, then I do not need to be involved in any way, shape, or form, whether it's interact, whether it's whatever. And it's just the idea of doing my own thing, doing what makes me happy. And right now, as I've said numerous times, what makes me happy is doing the Exiled Outcast, doing the other project I'll be doing very soon, and focusing on that. Besides life, besides work, besides all that. Gameplay streams may happen when I feel frequent, when I feel like I want to. But as far as everything else, you may just be getting some videos like this, some streams like this, or some shorts or whatever. Because I want to start doing that. I want to start being someone to be more open in regarding mental health. And as someone who also does not take medicine, any psych medicine, what have you, I have my days. I'm someone who believes that, how should I say this without being too harsh? I'm someone who nowadays I'd rather face my issues head on instead of trying to hide them or take a pill, alcohol, whatever. Granted, I can say my medicine is my cigarettes. I can say that. But the idea is to just face them. Something I wanted to, because I'm going to be into this soon, because I'm going to try to get some sleep. Something I would advise people. Never be afraid or ashamed to admit you have a problem or admit that you're going through something, you're going through whatever. Whether it's to a friend, whether it's to a family member, whether it's to your therapist, whether it's to your priest, whether it's to your, on here, thank you, Anthony. Never be afraid to talk about things. Unfortunately, there's a lot of vile, disgusting people in the world that are going to take what you say and make content, make issues with it, and all that. Earlier today, I was at work. I won't go into too much details, but I was I was just doing my thing, doing everything, and I just had some random person who, again, I don't know. It was she had a Russian accent. She had a kid, and I was talking to her, She has very broken English, but just out of the blue, she asked me if I was okay. And for some reason, that hit me. That like hit me very good, I guess you would say. Um, and She was waiting for something, so we talked for a little bit, and it was actually a very nice conversation of what we had. She had this like thing on her phone where you would type in something and it would translate to what the language that you wanted to relay the message to. So we were basically talking through that, and it was a very heartwarming and eye-opening conversation. And it was funny. She has a kid, and I was asking her about how was her day, and so she was like talking. She was like kind of going on and on, and the mom apologized, and I told her, I said, no, no, no. It kind of brings back some good memories, and all that. I guess something else that we're getting close to June, we're getting close to Father's Day. It's always kind of a very troublesome time for me mentally, because around this time I lost my father. This will be the 10-year anniversary that I lost my father. And while my father was not the best father in the world, and honestly, he let his drugs and alcohol consume him, he was, there were moments where he tried. And October will be the 12-year anniversary since I lost someone that I consider a father, and that was my grandfather. And then also for myself being a father, and realizing that in hindsight, my biggest regret in life. What's up, Leon? My biggest regret in life, and was something that I have to live with for the remainder of my days. Regardless how much I tried, and believe me, I tried, despite what anybody believes, is the realization that I failed as a father. Through a few reasons. And it's been almost 3 years since I've seen her. And it does not get any easier. And people always would ask me, why don't you try? Why don't you try? And I'm just gonna say me, or like the mother and all that, but I've so much stress, anguish was put on that little girl that I just want her to live her life and not be pulled and not be back and forth like she was for a very long time. No child should go through that, despite our own selfish desires of what we want. And I know she's in a much happier place, better than I could ever provide, and better than I think a lot of other people could provide. And something I still deal with. Things I could have done differently, things I could have handled better. One day I hope I can fix things, but if that day never comes, I also have to be at peace with that. and just hope that she lives her life and becomes the most successful person that she could be, more successful than I even, you know. So it's just it's just the idea of talking and being open about things and being real and not letting something hold you down. My biggest issue, and I've talked about this, is keeping my emotions in, keeping them in, not talking about them and all that. That is the issue regarding everything. And so, again, it's okay to not be okay. So, I thank everybody for watching, especially this late. I'm okay. Like, even though it says it's okay to be okay, I'm gonna be fine. But I just want to kind of let things out, let my own, and I hope some way that this inspires people, as I mentioned earlier, Jesse Leach inspired me, and all that. And if you're ever going through anything, no matter what it is, if you have me on Facebook or Discord, as long as I ain't working, because I, again, try not to be on my phone while I'm at work, unless it's like, work clothes or whatever, or I'm on break. If you ever need to talk, I'm always here as much as I can be. And I'll always be an ear to listen to. So with that, I wish you all the best, and I hope you all have a great Wednesday. I am more so going to have a good Wednesday. I'm going to off today, so that's great. We're going to watch Machines, so going to have a good time with that, and then go to a friend's bachelor party and have fun with that. And then back to the grind on Thursday. So with that, thank you to everybody who took the time to listen and to listen to me vent for almost 50 minutes. And with that, I'll see y'all next time. Peace, guys.